Joining us now, the former Jets fullback. It is Tony Richardson. We call it fullback disclosure. It's good to see you, Tony.
Good to see you as well.
All right, so just how big a loss is Santonio Holmes to the Jets?
Well, I think it's a huge loss. When you look at Santonio, what he brings to the offense, you look around, obviously the cupboard is pretty bare. Now you lose your top receiver, and Mark is going to have to find some other weapons.
So all of that having been said, listen, no secret, Sanchez and Holmes were not on the same page at the end of last year. It became ugly down in Miami. In some way, could this aid Mark, the fact that he doesn't have the pressure of having to get the football to a prima donna wide receiver?
Well, we talked about it, obviously, a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, a guy like Santonio, how do you get a guy like that involved? You get him the ball. Now I think Mark can actually sit back in the pocket, not worry about, I have to get Santonio 8 catches or 8 looks a game. Now he can just sit back and actually just find the targets that's available to him. Obviously, like I said, the cupboard is pretty bare, so, it's going to be a tough week for him.
So the cupboard bare. Who takes the hit for that? How much of that has to go to the general manager, Mike Tannenbaum?
Well, it all starts with the general manager. I think when you look at, Rex Ryan can only coach the guys that are available to him. When you look back and you say, okay, what's the biggest moves the Jets made in the offseason? They signed Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is not going to motion out wide and be able to run a 9 route for Mark Sanchez. So it always starts at the top and then it filters down.
Need playmakers to win games, no question about that. But does this all begin up front, the offensive line? Is it built to be successful?
Well, like I said, when I look at this offensive line, I say right now you're having these guys basically learn 2 offenses. You have them, one running a Wildcat offense, and then another thing we're trying to do is ground and pound. Make a decision on what you want to do. If you want to be a Wildcat team, then be a Wildcat team. If you want to be a ground and pound team, then get rid of that Wildcat stuff and let the guys go out and play.
Carlos Rogers of the 49ers said the Jets defense quit in the second half last Sunday. What do you think?
Well, it's one of those things. I watched the game, now since I'm on this side of the fence, I actually record the games and rewind it. The second half, there was guys really jogging to the football. It wasn't an aggressive type defense that Rex coach. Obviously Rex was pretty, livid, pretty upset, and said some words after the game about, how he felt about the game. And it looked like guys really at the end of the game really just stopped running to the football and really just gave up. And that's something I've never seen that defense ever do that before.
So who takes the hit for that? Is that Rex Ryan? It's his defense.
Well, it's leadership. Who's that guy? Obviously, I know you have guys like Bart Scott. You guys have like Calvin Pace, but who's the leader that says, you know what? I don't care what the score is. Finish the ball game. And that's the thing that was probably most upsetting for me, because I never seen anyone just step up and say, you know what? Forget the score. It is what it is, but let's finish the ball game.
What about the Texans on Monday night? They got beat up by the 49ers. Did they have any shot on Monday night against the Texans?
Well, you always have a chance, and that's the biggest thing that, right now everyone wants to, blow everything up and say, what, the Jets season's over. At the end of the day, they're 2-2. You still have a lot more football to play. I'm actually going to go on the limb and say I think this is going to be the game that the Jets are actually. I know we're going on a limb. This is a game the Jets are actually going to show up, and I'm actually going to lean in their favor this week.
They lost their best offensive player and they've lost their best defensive player.
Yeah.
How did they win?
Well, number one, it starts with your quarterback. You can't, the more football now I watch, since I can sit back on the couch and flip the channels, the more football I watch now, it all starts with your quarterback position. Stop taking Mark in and out of the game. If he's your starting quarterback, let him play. If you want Tebow in there, then put Tebow in. But at the end of the day, let Mark take control of that offense, and then we need some leadership on guys from a defensive side, to step up. Have
the Jets damaged? I know it's only a handful of weeks into the season. Have they damaged Mark Sanchez, in your opinion?
Well, if I'm Mark Sanchez, I'm pretty damaged, because at the end of the day, you look at guys. We looked at the Monday Night Football. You look at a guy like Tony Romo. He threw 5 interceptions. No one ever once said, let's bench Tony Romo. Mark Sanchez has a tough day, and obviously he'll say he didn't play his best game that he can play, but everyone now wants to pull Mark out and put Tebow in, and it's not fair to him. So I think right now they definitely damage his psyche.
It is Tony Richardson. We call it fullback disclosure. He is the former fullback of the Jets. It's good to see you, Tony.
Good to see you as well, Gary.